Greg Oz, and now Larry Mitchell on electric guitar.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live. And it's not night. It is bright and sunny here in Tacoma, Washington. Let's see who we got on. Ralph Higgs. Hey Ralph on YouTube, Twitch and DFW in Dallas. Rosie over there. Stephen Famillo in Kansas. Hey Stephen. Braxel in Dallas. Rosie Twitch and DFW says beautiful yard.
Thank you.
Rosie says thank you. Ralph Pigs badass, thank you. My finger's not working yet today. Thank you. Got it. I'm tripping over my finger. You see this little knot? I'm tripping over that. Jeannie Thompson, Montgomery, Alabama. I hope the storms are over. Hi, hello all, riding on another storm. Oh, in Fairhope. Okay. Let's see. We just had bad storms here at both airports in Dallas. Yep, hunker down, Jeannie. Watching on a tiny phone screen. It's good. Glad you're watching. Benji Bang Bang Pain in Z. New Zealand? I love New Zealand. That's where this is from. I love New Zealand. I need to come back and play. I go to Australia every year. This year it'll be twice, but I haven't been back to Australia New Zealand in a while. I need to go back there and play. Who else? Luthi, you're on YouTube this time. All right, from Stockholm, Sweden. It's got to be like 3 a.m. there. That's awesome. Thank you for staying up and watching. Hand 36 solo, awesome stuff. Beautiful day up here in the Pacific Northwest. You're here. Okay. I like the handle there. I don't want to get too much into the Mandalorian Grogu. I enjoyed the movie, as you guys saw from the Savannah show video. I figured out why all of my guitars were noisy and sounded bad. Ruthie screwed a couple of the effects loop cables up. What? And I pulled them. Oh, your cat screwed a couple of the effects loop cables up. That's not good. I used to have a cat. My mom used to have a cat that would just tip guitars over on a stand. She would just come over and Smokey. Sorry. Is my mom on yet? Hi, Mom. You watching? Steven, that's right. Nala would do that. Cats, as they see something peaceful, they can, it's time to knock that over. You needed to finish wiring the pedal board anyway. Nice. Felicia Harding in Sheridan, Wyoming. I just got I downloaded it to my phone, not to the computer. April 9th, I am in Sheridan, Wyoming at the YO Theater again. And I'll be playing with Steve Sisson on keys and Riley Haruza on bass. And I'm drawing a total blank on my drummer's name up there. He's gonna kill me. It'll come. Age is a wonderful thing. It'll snap to me right in a minute. Yeah, I just can't think of it. Let's see. Jeannie, you needed the soothing tune. Thank you. Yeah, I did too. I wasn't planning on doing 3 tunes, but I needed to get centered. And Love's Last Cry was the second song I played. First song was Reflections, and I used a Soldano pedal. You remember I did that video on YouTube, a review of the Soldano double pedal, SLO Plus, I think it's called. Is it Plus? And so I didn't have it because up here I don't have a lot of single pedals or a pedal board with single pedals. I have the FM3 up here, and I have the AM4 as a backup. But I asked to borrow the Soldano pedal. Oh, I didn't even adjust the bass. It was good. It was good though. That's good. It's cool when you just plug in and kind of move the knobs just a little bit and go, yeah, that's it. That's great. So I have the single channel one up here. And so I have the amp. So when I use the double one, I usually have the amp on totally clean. I use one channel for overdrive to push the amp and the other one to go into insanity. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. Thank you, Jeannie. Twitch DF Dub. Cool. You like the graphics. Phil in Sheridan, Wyoming as well. Hi, Phil and Joanne. Yeah, I'm coming up to Sheridan again to play at the YO Theater April 9th. Through a Borg ship, a relaxing flight through a Borg ship. Cool. Hey, Brett, I'm glad you're watching. I know you guys will have questions for my guest. Vince Janella. Hey, Vince. New Jersey in the house. John W777. That's cool. Is that Vi related or just a name? Dallas, Georgia. All right. Oh, hi, Leanie. Leanie's in New Jersey. Jerry Grassi. Last time we saw you was at the Emerald Guitar Store opening. Oh, yeah, that was great. We're trying to get Alistair to do more events and stuff like that, and maybe do like I did a few years ago. I was a surprise guest on that Emerald Guitar Store. I was a surprise guest until I showed up, and a guy I hadn't seen, Jeff Grayson, who might be watching, hadn't seen since New York days, yelled out my name and asked if I was playing. But it was a beautiful tour. It's Ireland's just wonderful to go visit. Ronnie Lee, in the house, literally in the house. What?
You yelling at me?
No. Yep, Greenstone. Oh, Luthi. Well, okay, thank you, Luthi. If you guys are on YouTube, if you can hit the like button, that would be great. Roy Sanders, hello. Jonathan Wees, 9312. Hello, Mr. Larry. Hello. Jonathan, where are you watching from? Mario V in New York. Mark from Phoenix. Mark. Hey, Mark. I know, I recognize it now. Like some of these names are like reading license plates and trying to guess what they are. And sometimes you get it right on, and sometimes you're way off. And then someone goes, "No, that's not what that means. That's this." So I did that the first couple times. I saw Mark's handler IKCI11. I11. Oh, that's cool. Jeannie, you started putting together a new... So you guys know I produced Jeannie's EP, a poetry, called The Myth of Water. I composed some music for it, and Jeannie got to read some of her poetry, and it's a lot of it has to do with Helen Keller. And so check it out if you can. It's on Bandcamp as well. Jeannie, you can post that. Oh, you're on your phone, right? Oh, yeah, you could put that in there, right? Benji, yes, Vince is a great player. Braxel, who you asking likes onion rings? Are you delivering there's some military planes. Those are military planes, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're flying overhead like every couple of minutes. Maybe they can drop some sweet potato fries. Yeah, you guys can have the onion rings. I'll do the sweet potato fries. Johnson, you have a dual Soldano pedal and haven't quite figured out how to set it. Dude, start with everything at noon. For me, start with everything at noon. I actually have bass, treble, and middle at noon right now, and I got the volume at 11 o'clock. And the presence at 11 o'clock, because I like darker stuff. And the gain is at 1 o'clock. And if I continue playing, the gain will be at 3 o'clock. So this is without it. Here, it's a jump plexi set that way. Now I can turn it down and get cleaner. Turn up, and then kick on the pedal. So I'd start with everything at noon, and then twist the taste. But we can ask the expert on this pedal in a minute. Brian Blaine, Toronto. Hey, nice. Welcome, Toronto. Big love to Canada. Absolutely. I was in Canada last year teaching at the Guitar Workshop Plus. And that's coming up. I'm doing Guitar Workshop Plus July, I think it's the week of July 17th. I am there on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, right? Or 21st, 22nd to 23rd. Jonathan, Northeast Arkansas. Hello, hello. John W777, yep, friend of Julie's. Awesome. Yes, Mark, I definitely know who you are. Mark Nowicki. Kevin the Music Heals. You know what? I'm going to play. Kevin sent me a little video from the District Live show. It was last weekend? Not this past weekend, but the weekend before with Savannah and in Austin and that trip. So I'm going to play a little bit of that while we get set up for chatting with Mike. Felicia Harden, you have her CD? Yes. There you go, jeanniethompson.bandcamp.com. Benji, you live in the North Island of New Zealand in a place called Wanganui. Am I close? Phil, you love sweet potato fries. Oh, there you go. Wanganui. You run it into a UA Ruby. Okay, the Ruby is the AC30 type, right? Vox. I think the Ruby is the Vox. Vince, wow, sounds great. What is it? It's the Soldano Super Lead Overdrive, SLO. I don't know why I had to look at that, because there's like, that's what it is. And then there's like 1,000 other pedals that go SLO, the version of an SLO. Hey, Glenn, are you watching? I know you have one. The amp, actually. John Lyson Music, beautiful day in Seattle. Yes. Oh, Stephen, you've been contemplating the Ruby as you love chimey stuff. I told you I have a Vox AC15, the best AC15 I've ever tried. I got it totally by luck. I was watching Facebook Marketplace. This was it was a year ago. And someone had posted they had a Vox AC15 and willing to trade straight up for a Helix Stomp, HX Stomp. And I was like, I have an HX Stomp I don't use. And by chance it happens to be one of the best ones that I played. So I'm not touching it. MT Mayhem, love this. Cool. All right. So let me play this video. This is this is what Kevin sent me earlier. Kevin from themusicheals.com. But when I switch this, it's going to switch to the wrong video, isn't it? Yep. Let's do that. Let's do that and that. Okay. Here we go. And then I'm just going to play a little bit of this. I'm going to skip around. Kevin infused the video with some of the sightseeing in Savannah, Georgia. And I thought it was really cool. And we're just going to get set up. And my hot chocolate is still hot. Oh, Steven, okay. Yes, the AC 15 does take pedals really well. That's a question for Mike. I have a question for Mike about amps and pedals. Jonathan, that's an interesting question. You play for an amp. That's another question for Mike. You play for an amp. You play for a church. You're not able to use an amp. I remember going to see some friends in Albuquerque, and they play at a church for, I think they said 6,000 people per service, and they had just like 80s rigs galore, and now no one's using amps. They're all using various different modelers and stuff like that. And also, I played a memorial service, and they had the drummer playing a V-drum kit behind plexiglass, and the church won't let them remove the plexiglass, even though you don't need the plexiglass for a V-drum kit. But they just remember it was really loud without the plexiglass, so it has to do that. So we're in interesting times, and I know in Nashville a lot of the places don't want you to play through amplifiers. Which is a cool thing that the rack unit has IRs in it. And I got a request. But anyway, let me do this. Here's a little bit of video from Kevin. This is from 2 weekends ago in Savannah, Georgia. I'm going to skip around on it. It'll be posted later tonight if you want to watch the whole thing. But I'm just playing this while we move stuff around. I'm going to play a little bit, and then the band's going to come out, and we're going to jam a bit, and that's going to be a blast. I was enjoying Soundcheck because it brought back so many memories of being on the road with Tracy and Billy. But for now, I'm not going to sing because you don't want that. Thomas, there's going to be some singing going on. But close your eyes and groove with me, or make up your own lyrics and sing with whoever you'd like to sing to. Hello, hello, hello. MT Mayhem. Thank you. Glad you found it. Your algorithm is on fire. I'm going to switch to this camera. Can I do that? Can I do that? Can I? Hold on.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Check 1, 2. Oh, it's still on. Okay. All right. So here we are in Tacoma, Washington, and my guest, Mike Soldano.
Thank you. Thank
Wow.
you. Hi. Hello, everyone out there in viewing land.
In viewing land.
Yes.
I'm going to get to questions in a minute, but I got my own questions. First of all, I love gear. And although I'm using the Fractal, I've been using the Fractal stuff since 2007. I own amplifiers. I don't own any of your tube amplifiers. I have the little head, and I have 2 of the pedals. I have owned the 2-channel preamp 3 times.
Okay. Yeah.
Including I used it on the Billy Squier, on the last part of the Billy Squier tour. And then I had on loan for a while a 3-channel one.
Oh, the X88. Yes.
Yeah. And I was so sad to give that back. But I had that for almost 2 years.
Awesome.
And then I've owned again the 2-channel. I had a 2-channel one, and it did not sound the way I thought it was going to sound. And I sold it to someone, and they said, "Oh yeah, I fixed it." And I'm like, "Oh, all right. Well, so you give it back."
That changed my mind.
I was like, "I don't remember this amp sounding like this," and it was something was wrong with it.
Okay.
But yeah, great amplifiers.
Thank you.
And they were purple.
Yes.
I love the purple. I'm a Prince fan. I was sad to find out. I love Prince, but I got to go do the tour of Prince's Paisley Park studio.
Wow.
My friend Jeff and Tony took me for my birthday last year.
That's cool.
And we learned that purple is not Prince's favorite color. It's orange.
How can that be?
He liked purple because of royalty, but orange is his favorite color. And I was like, what? I mean, everybody on it, there's like, 30 people on it. Everyone's like, what?
Right. Oh my gosh.
But
well, I'll have you know, purple is my favorite color.
It's up there with my favorite color. I mean, I absolutely love purple. And also, so where I grew up in Far Rockaway, Queens, the local guitar hero was Steve Stevens.
Ah, yeah.
He lived in Far Rockaway, and Steve had purple road cases, and everyone's like,
cool.
Of course, he was the local guitar hero, so you gotta, so, all right, I can afford road cases now. I'm getting purple road cases, stuff like that. Yeah. Sorry, Steve. Steve is really cool. Steve is the one that turned me on to Nags guitars and recommended me to them. But anyway, I remember I was on the Squier tour. I had a Mesa Boogie quad preamp, and I had a Marshall preamp, and we were someplace in a store. I like music stores, so I plugged into the 3-channel head, and I was like, I plugged into the amps before, but I was like, I cannot carry an amp around, and plus I was all about effects and stuff like that. And although on the Squier tour, hindsight, I should have I would have been fine with just a head and
pedal board,
the 6 cabinets that I used anyway.
Oh, 6 cabinets! Wow.
Yeah, or most of the time it's 4, but we have big enough space. We both
that's a wall of sound, right there.
Yeah, and see, there was 8. Well, it wasn't 8. It was 91. I did the tour.
There you go. Perfect.
But and I learned a lot about tone from Billy, because Billy is actually a great guitar player, but the other thing was they had 12 heads, and they were constantly sending them back and forth because they were tube heads on the road. They were, so Billy's idea of tone, which was great, was a 100-watt plexi for clean, and a 50-watt JCM 800 for lead, and an AB box and a wah. I, on the other hand, had a Bradshaw pedal board with 3 different preamps and a 2290 and a bunch of other effects and stuff. But I remember going to a music store, and I plugged in the 3 channels. Like, what can I sell something? Will they advance me money for the tour to buy? And the guy goes, well, I have the 2-channel. I think it was a 2-channel.
Yeah. Like the
In 91?
SB77.
And SP77.
Yeah.
That's right. So I bought that, and we stuck it in the rack, and I used that most of the rest of the tour.
Cool.
It was like,
Yeah, that's a great...
and I broke the rule. On tour, you're not supposed to change things.
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh no, it's just in the rack. It's just in the rack. Yeah, don't know her. And I programmed my own Bradshaw rig, so I was able to.
Yeah, you could make it work out. That's cool.
Braxa loves the dark purple and the royal dark rich purple. So when the Soldano, the single channel pedal came out, I was like, that's cool. And I was thinking about for a pedal board in front of an amp, and I was like, well, I'd have to pair it with another pedal because I want to use that for the lead tones.
Right. Yeah.
And so I didn't do it. I remember Ronnie had one. My friend Ronnie Lee had one, and I checked hers out a little bit. And then when the double pedal, the 2-channel came out, I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
And they're kind of identical, except the second channel has more gain, yes?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can set them both to be really hot, but it's designed to try to emulate kind of how a stock SLO is, which is kind of the normal channel, has less gain. You can go from, well, if you really turn it down, it'll clean totally up. But usually it's from like a little bit of an edge breakup crunchy thing to like a cranked up think 70s crunch rock kind of thing, and then the overdrive channel just takes it beyond that. But in the pedal we actually gave the normal channel even more range, so you can actually, if you want, you can just set it up to have 2 totally overdriven channels as well. So that was kind of the idea. But it gives you basically, if you include your clean sound of having the pedal bypass, it gives you 3 channels.
3 channels.
Boom, there you are.
That's great. Yeah, because in the 80s I had a couple of heavy. I remember in one band I had to use two Marshall heads, but I was really like a clean amp guy with pedals, overdrive pedals.
Yeah, you were way ahead of your time actually by doing that.
That's because I could never get those crunchy amps never had a great clean sound.
That's true.
And they didn't. I do like non-master volume amps most of the time.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
So if you either set it up clean or you set it up for edge of breakup,
right?
Stuff like
and
that.
then your ears are bleeding.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. So what made you decide to do the pedal?
Well, so back in the day, I had a tube version of an overdrive pedal that was basically, it was the overdrive preamp of an SLO in a pedal with real tubes. It was a real tube pedal, and it weighed like 1,000 pounds. But it was cool. People dug it, and so I then made a lighter weight version of it by lightening up the chassis. But it was still big and clunky, and it was still too big. It just wasn't what modern players wanted anymore.
What made it heavy? The transformer?
Yeah, it had a big transformer in it, and then just physically, because it had tubes in it, there needed to be some room around on the circuit board to kind of keep things separated so you didn't have like oscillations happening and whatnot. So it was really hard to get it much smaller than it really was. And so when I retired, it's really more like semi-retirement at this point, but when I closed down my Soldano business and transitioned it to boutique amps down in California, I was like, hey guys, let's do the pedal. And everybody kind of looked at me like, it's too big, it's too heavy, it's too clunky. But what do you think of doing a solid state pedal? And I said, well, I don't have the chops to design solid state stuff, but if we take my voicings and everything, and then the engineers at Boutique kind of could do their thing with the solid state side of it, like take what my tubes were doing and emulate those in that, and then work together with my already pre-designed EQ and tone shaping stuff. And we kind of like, let's give it a shot, and we put it together, and it turned out really far beyond my wildest dreams. I was just like, we did it. This is amazing. It actually sounds like the tubes.
It sounds like the amp.
It sounds like the amp. It totally does.
You also did that with the head. I have the little head.
Yes, and that was it. The same technology went into the head.
Okay.
And again, if you ask me, it's magic because it's a little beyond my engineering capability, but we did it.
Yeah.
And I was so happy, and I was probably the worst critic. I mean, the whole design process, I was like, you don't even let that thing out of your sight until I hear it because it isn't right.
Well, it's your name.
Yeah,
your name is literally on the pedal.
It's literally on the pedal. It has to be right.
Yeah.
And so, they'd send me stuff up to listen to, and I'd listen to it, and I'd go, "You did it, man! This thing is amazing."
Cool.
And so, I use that thing a lot. It's because I have the real amp sitting there in my music room, but sometimes when I just want to go and play with some friends, I grab one of my smaller amps, I take that with me, and I'm right there. I'm just loving it. It's cool.
Yeah, because it imparts your sound, your characteristic onto other amplifiers.
It does.
Which is great.
It totally does.
Yeah. We were talking about, someone had mentioned, Stephen Famillo has an AC-15. If someone uses it with an AC-15, certain amps take pedals really well.
They do. Some better than others.
Yeah, they take on the characteristic of the pedal. So you have a good pedal. In the 80s, well, actually, what this does is use technology for good.
Yes,
because we had the sound already.
Yeah,
it's like it wasn't looking for any new sound.
No.
But the technology today made it smaller, lighter, and probably more consistently sturdy. Because if you got tubes around in there and a heavy pedal, more than likely it's going to drop or break.
And that's the thing, the other pedal, aside from being big and kind of heavy and stuff, you couldn't just throw it with your pedal board and just toss it around because it wasn't going to take getting dropped and kicked. And they were durable. Don't get me wrong. I built it as tough as I could, but still, you're right. It's got glass in there.
Yeah.
And so you tend to handle, when you have a tube amp, you tend to handle it carefully because it's a tube amp.
Unless you work for an airline.
Well, that's true. Exactly.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I would never take amps on a flight.
Gosh, I used to ship amps to customers, and I had one guy who sent an amp back to have me do a claim with UPS because the UPS driver was too lazy to buzz his front gate, and so he literally threw the box over a 5-foot-tall chain-link fence. The amp landed on the other side. Now, the amazing thing is when he shipped the amp back to me, after I put the tubes back in, because a couple had broken, but after I put a new set of tubes in it, the amp actually worked fine. But the impact had destroyed the cabinet, so we had to make a claim, and had to go through all that headache. But it shows the amps are tougher than they seem. It's the tubes are the weak link. But the thing is, like you say though, in a pedal board, man, those things are going to get slammed around into the truck. Whoop, there it goes.
Yeah.
So making the pedal solid state, making it small, making it so that you could actually mount it to a standard pedal board without it taking up too much room, really was a game changer. It really just made it so much more accessible and more useful for so many people. So I love that little guy. It's fun.
Very, very cool. Yeah. So I'm going to come back to the pedal in a second.
Sure.
You released a rack mount too, and that has a bit of a modern technology to it because it has IRs, and MIDI channel switchable.
Yes. So that's based on the original X88R that I designed in 1988. That's where the name, the 88 in the name came from.
I didn't know that.
Okay, there you go. That's why it says 88.
But wait, so that doesn't explain the SP77.
Well, that was the problem. When I came out with the 2-channel, I was like, okay, this one's 88. What am I going? I can't make the new one be more, so it's kind of keeping the same theme. I was like, okay, I'll just back it up 11 because I'm big with 11, as you know from seeing the knobs on my amps. And so I was like, okay, 77. It's just 2 channels. It's 77. Yeah, it doesn't fit the timeline anymore, but that's okay. It's a whole different product. And then when my motorized MIDI preamp came out, I just had to stay with the double number thing, and that was the X99. So
Okay.
So 77, 88, and 99. I just love weird, funny numbers like that.
All right, that's all good.
Yeah. So when we reissued the 88, it was like, okay, this is many years later, and people, players have different needs than they did back in the day. Well, they have the same needs, but they actually have more needs now than they had then. They want to record at home. They want to, now they've got, now you don't have to go into studio anymore to record. You can go do it at home with Pro Tools on your, in your bedroom with a PC.
Or you can do what I'm doing, is just go live directly into the computer.
Yeah, or go
because they're not hearing the speakers; they're hearing. I was going direct.
You go straight in, and so and those old amps, you really couldn't do that with them. I mean, you could buy interfaces that would make it work, but we were like, let's make this thing so we can use it any way we want to. We can plug it into a Bradshaw rig and take it out live and tour the world with it.
Yep.
Or we can sit in our bedroom and plug it straight into the computer, put on our headphones and record. And so that's why we added the IRs, because then that way you don't need to have a separate speaker emulator. It's all right there in the amp.
Right.
And we gave it the MIDI controllability, because that's what everybody's doing now. God, in 88, MIDI was still very esoteric and rare kind of thing. Yeah.
I actually did work. I put together Bradshaw rigs for people.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
cool.
Especially when they had the Roxron Bradshaw and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people didn't understand MIDI.
Yes, it was so new back then. I mean, it was, like I say, there was that small little crowd that understood it. Like Bob was like probably one of the leaders.
Great,
and but nobody else got it. I didn't even understand it for a while. People had to explain it to me. I'm building these preamps and going like, I don't know what you're putting it in, but that MIDI thing, that's pretty cool.
Well, you can get really deep, or you can do it on the basic level.
Yeah. And
so it's cool with that the preamp has MIDI that you can just say, all right, I have several different combinations I want to do.
Yeah.
With Eventide H90 or something like that.
Right.
Or pedal. I've been joking that because I have an H90 and I have two of the purple SLO Plus pedals, and I have the TC for a minute came out with the 2290 pedal.
Oh,
I think
right.
I could recreate, if Yamaha would just put out the SPX 90 pedal,
then
I could recreate my entire rack that used to weigh 350 pounds in a pedal board.
Yeah,
not that I would take that pedal board too many places, because that's still too heavy for me. I'm carrying a pedal board when I'm driving, but flying is always
flying,
as
you
small
got to
as
strip it down to nothing nowadays. They don't let you take anything on the planes anymore.
Yeah. So I've also been saying that one of the cool things about the modeling boom, first of all, there's an SLO in every modeler.
Yeah.
Right? Some are good, some are not so good.
Yeah, that's true.
How do you feel about that?
Well, way back when that stuff first started happening, I was like, this seems kind of weird to me. It seemed like, I don't know. Well, for one thing, the very earliest ones sounded nothing like what they were modeling. Right. So they weren't good.
They almost all sounded the same too.
They did. They really did. They really had the character. So I was kind of like, why do that when you can just have the amp, And so at first I was somewhat of a Luddite. I was like, this isn't really where it's at. This is too techy and digitally and all that stuff. But it got better and better and better. And pretty soon I was just like, something, man, it's so good that I can't hear the difference when I'm doing an A/B for the most part, And so then I was like, it's a new thing. This is where it's going. And then when people started taking it even further yet to where they could now not only model, but then inside the model you could manipulate and work with it. I was like, okay, this is a game changer. This is like this is moving even further into this future. So I think what they're doing now is pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think two things. One before I forget, because to get in there, I'm starting to forget stuff.
God,
I did the Poland Guitar Fest, and I met an amp builder, and he was like, was talking about, I have a fractal and stuff like that. And I go, and so how are you using it? He goes, he has his amp, which is based off another amplifier,
Okay.
So, in the Fractal, you can change the tubes, you can change all kinds of stuff like that. So he does experiments, and if he likes the sound, then he does it in the real world with his amplifier.
That's a great way to do it.
Okay. It's interesting.
I mean, what a great way to save an R&D time and cost,
Yeah, I like what that kind of does. Then he does it for real and tweaks it more and stuff. But he knows he wants to go down that avenue.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
how novel. I love it.
And the other thing I've been saying for a long time is that what modelers have done as they've gotten better is makes the boutique amplifiers better in itself. Because you had MIDI and IRs to it.
Yeah.
That's forced because modelers out there, people at home, and not everybody knows how to mic an amplifier at home and stuff like that. So they can go, they plug in and they go, I changed the cabinet, and all right, that sounds great. I'm going to start recording.
Yeah, the IRs have really helped for that.
And there's quite a few amplifiers that I think have benefited because people use modelers, and they go, all right, so we got to, in order to make an amplifier, you have to make, that somebody's going to want to buy for $3,000 or up.
Right.
It's got to be something way better than a model, or do something that to have some characteristic that a model just doesn't have at the moment, and then they catch up and stuff. But where was I going? Yes, I'm going to show the pedal board in a second. Oh, Bod D66, you have a Soldano HR50. Why did I sell it? You had one. Yeah, then we all did that. We all did.
Shame on you.
And I think I saw Steven said he just got through wiring his pedal board. And Steven's pretty meticulous about his pedal board wiring, and he's like, he thinks he needs to get one of the SLO pedals for lead tone.
Oh, definitely.
What was I gonna say about just in general? I like where amplifiers are today, or headed out. I mean, the boutique amplifiers out there are great. And the ones that kind of stay the same are just the same. Stuff like that. But I think a lot of it has to do with, all right, the competition now is not versus amp, your amp versus another person's amp. It's like, what makes someone go, I have a modeler, but I want the real thing. So I'm going to go get the real thing as well.
And, and there's something kind of visceral about it too, right? There's something sometimes that you can't quantify just by like putting on some headphones and doing an A/B test, going like, they sound exactly the same. But when you're standing on stage or anywhere in your rehearsal space, whatever, and you've got that 100-watt head sitting in front of you on a 412 cabinet,
making your hair stand up on your arm.
Yeah, and your pant legs are flapping in front of the speakers, and you're getting this really crazy, cool feedback thing that only that one spot in the room with that guitar and that amp and that cabinet does. That's the thing that I think will always kind of bring you back to kind of that feeling. It's more of a feeling than it is even an audio thing. It's just that feeling you get playing. The smell of the tubes warming up, all that stuff. So I think
that fear when you turn around and you see smoke coming.
There's that too.
I think we should stop the song now.
Yeah, there's that also. So I think that's why there's always going to be a place and a demand for the real thing, the real thing as I call it. And then I think what modelers and all of that, the new technology has done is it's not only solved a lot of problems for a lot of people and made touring easier, made moving gear easier, but I think it's also opened it up to more players. I think it's making it more accessible to more people. Like now you can record in your apartment with headphones and your PC, whereas before, you had to have a closet somewhere where you could stick that 100-watt amp speaker cabinet, crank it up, and hope the neighbors don't call the cops. So it's making it a lot better and more accessible to more people. And God, the stuff I hear, guys, I still even to this day get people sending me little demo tapes they do and stuff at home, and and I'm like, this sounds amazing. Like, I did it in my little 1-bedroom apartment, and my wife didn't even hear me when I was doing it. I'm like, excellent, man, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So it's neat. It's really made it's really made great tones so much more accessible and so much more,
right there.
Exactly.
I think that overall, unfortunately, I'm is going to be debate the controversial here for a second. I don't think creativity has gotten better, but I think overall tone has gotten better. Because I've been playing like festivals, and I remember doing a festival, doing a sound check, and it's like all these guitar players on the side standing there, and then before I played, I'm like, why are you using a modeler? They all had tube amps. And I don't want to say which festival it was or stuff like that, but because they were nice, but they were like, kind of like, why are you using a modeler and stuff like that.
Right.
After the sound check, they wanted to know what I was using. Right, and then I watched their sound checks, and not everybody knows how to dial in an amp.
No, that's true. That's very true.
So I've heard some horrible, I've heard some unique tones.
Yeah, unique.
From real amplifiers, and I've heard some unique tones from modeler stuff.
Very well put. Very diplomatic.
One of the advantages a lot of people have with the modelers is they go. People always ask me, can you share that preset? And I'm like, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah,
it's set up for me, but it's a better start.
Yeah.
If they don't know what to do it.
Right. That's true.
And I've had people say they couldn't dial in a modeler, and I help them with that, and I go, or I look at the preset that they're trying to work on. I go, really this is a Mesa Boogie Mark V with all of this stuff on there, and I go, oh yeah. So this is what you use in your wedding band? Go, oh no, I just use a twin and some Boss pedals. I go,
see.
Why did you recreate that first?
Yeah, start there.
Start
with what you're familiar with and what works for you.
Yeah, and if you can get the modeler to sound like your actual rig, using the same stuff, then you understand how that modeler works.
Yes.
The other thing I was going to say was, before my brain left me, it was about modelers. No, it was about tube amps. Oh, it was really good, and I've lost it.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
I've lost it. So request. Before I get into questions, request. At Boutique Amplifiers, they have the IRD and IRX, the Friedman stuff, and then they have the Tone King stuff, which is a little bit different.
Yeah.
When is those are all two preamps. I know what I was going to say too. Remember twisting knobs. Okay, please, somebody. When, and I know you can't really elaborate on stuff but I'm requesting a 2-channel, same footprint as those.
Okay.
All tube preamp with built-in IRs that you can bypass if you want to run into a power amp. XLR out and a stereo effects loop. I'm just saying. Okay. That would be amazing.
Okay.
Because it's like the head, but it's the preamp section, the head on the floor. And if you can get a solid state to sound like that, then I think with I'm just requesting.
Okay. Noted.
What I was going to say before had to do with knobs. Yes, I'm a champion of models. I use everything. I have real pedal boards. I have real amplifiers. I have different modelers. I do presets for different companies as well.
Cool.
When I play with singer-songwriters, a lot of the times, especially if it's going to be a group of shows in a row, I actually prefer to twist knobs. Because even if you can get the modeler to sound exactly like a real amplifier head, when I play with singer-songwriters, sometimes we're playing with a band, and I need a certain kind of amount of gain for that. And sometimes I'm playing with a singer-songwriter that's playing an acoustic guitar, and that gain does not work. It has to change drastically. Or a piano player, it's just me and a piano player, or me a piano player and a percussionist. It's like, and I'm always going, oh crap, and I'm like, on a computer I'm trying to dial down, and I have, for certain artists I play with, I have multiple presets for different situations. Whereas if I could have a preamp and I just go, all right, that's what we're doing tonight. Just turn the gain down. That's like, so it's the same thing.
For that.
I produce. I have a studio. I produce other artists' stuff. and I have one of the Audioscape LA2A compressors.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that. It sounds great. And I realized that's when it first hit me a bunch of years ago, is that I compress more, I lean into compression more. Because I'm auto compensating. So when you turn the compression up, you go, oh, that doesn't. Your mind goes, oh, just turn this down. You compensate like this. When you're doing it with a mouse, you turn the compression up. Go, oh, that sounds awful. Then you back off a little bit. Something like that. But when you can use your hands, you do it.
You can kind of do them together. Yeah.
And the same thing with when I can go grab the gain and the volume, and you get the level right and the tone right there. Because once you adjust the tone. And once you adjust the level, the tone reacts differently.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, it would be really great if there was a tube version of that with a small footprint, effects loop, cram a little delay in there.
Yeah. Okay, well.
I'm just saying. I hope that you have many more ideas in your head.
They're always there. They're always kind of perking around, and sometimes, we'll sit down there and just kind of spitball some ideas around, and oftentimes what happens is I'll sit there and try to strip it down till it's too basic, and then all of a sudden it's just like, wait a minute, now it's too basic. This is the same as something I've already done. And so then I have to remember, hey, there's more tools available now, and we can do more.
Yeah.
So we're always kicking ideas around, and there are things in the works which I cannot talk about now, but there are things in the works.
Things in the works.
Things are in the works.
Cool.
Yeah.
One more request.
Yes.
An anniversary pedal. What's your favorite car?
Oh man, there's a whole bunch of.
I know you're a car guy.
I am a car guy.
My bass player Jeff up here, Jeff Eason, he's a drag racer.
Oh, good. Yeah, fun stuff. I used to do that. God, I love so many cars. Geez, I have too many favorites. But I guess for domestic cars, because I do like American cars, I'd say. Well, you can't really go wrong with a '67 Camaro.
Okay, Ronnie's liking that. All right, so the request is an anniversary pedal, limited series, and make sure I get one. I'll buy it. I'll pay for it, but I want to get one first. A commemorative Camaro SLO pedal.
Okay. We have to find out if we can use Camaro, though. There's a lot of people that get really touchy about trademark names and things.
There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way.
Yeah, that would be kind of
Or else
fun.
you're going to have to design a car.
Well, I'd love to do that. That would be fun.
Did you ever meet Dave Story?
I don't know Dave's story.
Dave's story, he passed away, I think, in 2020. He created Dava Picks, and he also created the Kaler Tremolo and licensed it to Gary Taylor.
I remember the Kaler Tremolo. I've got one on one of my guitars, as a matter of fact.
When I lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico, I used to have these get-togethers where people would bring something. Don't bring something that we've all seen. Bring something that you think that nobody's seen or has.
Right.
And someone brought Dave.
Wow.
And Dave brought stuff. I was like, what is that? What is that? And then I got to know Dave, and I met him at the perfect time because I couldn't hold on to picks. My hands were shaking and stuff.
Okay.
And his picks have neoprene on them.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah. And
I love that.
Yeah, it was great. It was perfect time. So then I went to his shop in Albuquerque. And you can keep it if you want.
Thank you.
Actually, I might have to borrow it to play the last song, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, no. And Dave built his own car. Wow. With a old McLaren body, but he built the car.
Yeah. Scratch built.
Yeah.
Wow.
He welded and did all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, I wanted it to idle at 80 miles an hour. I'm like,
wow, that's cool.
And he goes, like, it's almost there. And I'm like, Dave, there's no plates, or is this legal? He goes, no. No. So you had this on the highway here in Albuquerque? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
like, all right.
Yeah, they probably don't pay too much attention there because some car goes by at 180 miles an hour. I love it.
It was great. Dave was great. I love meeting builders. It's a different designers and builders are a different art form than what I do, and so I love meeting artists whose minds you look at something and you see it differently.
Yeah.
Or you hear something, you hear it differently. And no matter how hard I try to get into what you're doing, I can't. Because that's just not what I do. But
what you do, you do wonderfully. So it doesn't
thank you.
matter.
But it's just fascinating. It's like, what made you create the first preamp in the first place, or first amplifier?
Well, it's like you say, it's kind of like seeing something and knowing it can be better. So, so when I first started, I started playing guitar kind of, well, they say late in life. I was in my early 20s. In fact, I think I was 20 when I picked up a guitar, and all my friends had started playing when they were 8. So, so I had a little catching up to do. But anyway, kind of two things drove it. One was the fact that in those days, I had virtually no money. So, necessity is often the mother of invention.
Yes.
But the other thing was, as I was learning the instrument, getting, better at it, I started in my head kind of like imagining what I'd like to hear coming out of the speakers rather than what I was getting out of the speakers. And so, again, I'm kind of limited on funds, so I had to kind of just, try different amps that were available at prices I could afford, and then kind of fiddle around with that. And so my first real amp I got was a 100-watt JMP Marshall, master volume model.
Okay.
And that did a good job for rhythm guitar and stuff. It was good and crunchy. It needed a pedal for leads, I felt, but it was a little thin, it just had some shortcomings I didn't like, but I was like, okay, well, I'll work with this for a while. And then about that time, the Mesa Boogie came out, and they were unobtainable at the time. But the thing is, I'm a big Santana fan, so so I heard that tone, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's getting closer to it than anything else I've heard yet. And what's he using? And I found out he was playing a Boogie. So I was working in an auto body shop at the time, and so at $7 an hour, I somehow, for over a year and a half, was able to save up enough money to buy a Mark II Mesa Boogie, which I did.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I bought that amp, and I got it, and it was by far, the closest to what I was hearing in my head as I'd gotten yet, but it still had shortcomings, still had things it wasn't doing to my liking, and one of them was that when I dialed up a really good clean sound, I couldn't get a good overdrive sound.
Right.
And if I got a really good overdrive sound dialed up, I couldn't switch back and get a good clean. And part of it was because it was a cascaded preamp where one channel was going through the other, and so you always were dependent on what one of what them was set at to get the other. And so I just started thinking, I was like, there's probably a better way to do this. And mind you, at this point, I knew nothing about electronics. I understood basic electronics from a community college physics course I had taken.
Wow, I never thought that was your area of okay.
No, I was a car guy. I could tell you anything you needed to know about a small block Chevy V8, but I couldn't tell you much about electronic stuff, but I was interested. And so as I got more into the guitar thing, my car hobby sort of took back seat to that, because I was just geeking out on guitar. This is all new to me, and I just thought it was so awesome. So the first thing I did is I figured, well, I can improve my tone by building my own guitar. And so I taught myself how to build guitars from a little book I found in a bookstore. It was on how to build your own electric guitar, and I kind of was like, hey, if this guy can do it, so can I. And so again, I wanted a Les Paul, but I couldn't afford a Les Paul, but I did have enough money to go down to this exotic hardwood lumber yard and buy a chunk of wood and start sawing something out on the bandsaw.
Wow.
So I built a few little guitars, and they were cool, and they, I was able to buy some nice pickups from DiMarzio and stuff, and get closer to that, pushing the front end of the amp the way I wanted to hear it, do it, sing, and all that. But I still realized that the weak link in my signal path was the amp. It's okay, I got a great guitar now. The amp's not doing it for me. And so, and like I say, the Boogie got close, but it's still, the better I got at playing, the more I realized there were shortcomings in what I was playing through, because in my head I had this very specific overdrive sound that was just like, I knew this is what I wanted something to sound like. So kind of just being the quintessential tinkerer, I was like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. So I started by blindly, and I mean blindly, modifying little Fender Bassman heads, because you could, back then you could buy those things for $35 all day long.
Isn't that the origin of a lot of things?
Well, it is. Well, it actually though, it's the Tweed Bassman that's the origin of everything.
Okay.
These were the later ones. These were like the little silver face, little 40-watt heads.
Yeah.
But they were dirt cheap. You could buy them used for nothing. Nobody wanted them back then.
Yeah.
And they were easy to modify because they still had the tag board, circuit board, so you could take parts in and out real easy and screw around. So I started kind of like destroying a few of those. But then I built myself a little breadboard where it's just like power transformer, output transformer, power tubes, and then a bunch of terminal strips where I could just swap parts in and out.
Okay.
And at the same time, I went to the community college that was Shoreline Community College in Seattle, where I grew up. And I asked the electronics professor there if taking one of his courses would help me understand tube electronics. And he's like, man, that ship sailed. He said, we don't talk about tubes anymore. We'll spend one day on it. But he says, this isn't really the place for you. He says, I recommend just getting some old books on it and learning from the books. And so, fortunately, my mom worked in the Seattle Public Library system.
Oh, cool.
And so she was able to go to, like, the downtown library and all that and pull books out of the archives and stuff that, oftentimes nobody never saw the light of day. Yeah. And so I started reading all these, and it was pretty boring reading, I gotta tell you, because these were all like old Navy and training manuals, so it's real dry reading, like not exciting or fun at all. But I persevered. I learned how a vacuum tube worked. I learned how tube amps worked. I learned how, circuits are designed and how, resistor capacitor networks alter tone and all this junk, all this technical stuff that was really dry and boring. But it gave me what I needed to know so that I could sit down and experiment with it.
Okay.
And so I had this little breadboard I built. I'd throw parts on it. I'd solder things up. I'd play and listen and go, oh, I'm getting closer. Oh, that didn't work at all. And I just kind of started tinkering. It took me about 4 years of just spending every night after work. I'd get off at the body shop, go home, and stay up until 2 a.m. in my little electronics bench I built in my bedroom. And I kept tinkering and tinkering and tinkering with stuff. And I started kind of unraveling the mysteries of all this stuff, like how distortion worked and how you could control distortion. And that was the whole thing to me. I wanted to create a sound where, you could get it at all volume levels.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, there were a lot of cool old amps that you could get that sweet tone, but it was at one volume level, and usually that was too loud for any little club I was going to be playing in.
Yep.
But I knew that there had to be a way to be able to control that. So my first line of thinking was, it's got to all be in the preamp, so that way that I can just turn the volume up and down, and the power amp will just reproduce whatever the preamp's doing. And that went way against like what a lot of guys were doing at that time, because a lot of players at the time were relying on power amp distortion to get the tone they were getting. Yeah. And I wanted to be able to get that power amp distortion sound, but do it in the preamp. And so that was my first challenge. And then the second challenge was, I wanted to have a 2-channel amp that I could set any sound I wanted in the normal channel, or the number 1 channel, and it would not be affected by the overdrive channel, and vice versa. So that I could get the kill and drive I wanted and still get the crunch or clean or whatever I wanted in the other one, and they weren't dependent on each other. Yeah. And so those were really my design objectives. So I just kept messing around. And pretty soon I came up with this piece of wood with all these components stuck on it and these transformers hanging on the bottom of it that made those sounds. I was just like, whoa, I think this is it, And so I decided, okay, I've gotten that done. Now I need to make this in something containable, right? So I built I used my metalworking skills to build a chassis. I laid out a circuit board. I found a local transformer manufacturer that would make me a prototype set of transformers.
Okay.
Because I wanted a 100-watt amp, and the ones I was using, I think I was using an old Fender power transformer, and it might have even been a Fender output transformer in my little breadboard. But I wanted something a little bit beefier because I was going to rock out and be a rock star and blah blah blah. And again, mind you, I never was planning on starting an amp company. I was really just doing this to satisfy my own personal sound. You know, this is.
But that's the best stuff comes from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I've got my sound now. And at the same time, I started realizing though that my playing skill set wasn't really going to get me where I thought I needed to go with that. So I was like, what else could I do here? And it turned out that other people liked this amp I had, you know, and so I had a friend of mine who had a rehearsal hall space in, again, South Seattle, that whenever I needed to try it out loud, I went to his place, because I couldn't crank it up in my place that I was living in at the time. Mm-hmm. And so the fortunate thing about that was when we'd try out my prototype, and because I was still tweaking it, making fine changes, and some of it I didn't realize I needed until I did crank it up loud. Well, all the other guitar players in this place would come to my buddy's room and go, "What is that you're playing through? You know, like, what do you guys got in there?" And pretty soon I realized that not only was that sound in my head, but it was in other people's heads as well. And they're like, "God, could you build me one of those?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, I probably could."
It's one of the first amps that had like that gain and that tone.
Yeah. I think I did kind of hit on something there.
Yeah.
And so I got enough requests for these things that I was like, you know, maybe this could be a viable business. And in the meantime too, I also I figured out what was really making that circuit of mine work so well, and I turned it into a mod that worked really well in Marshalls. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing Marshall mods.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I had this it was a real good mod. It was easy to do on a Marshall, didn't take too much effort. I added an extra preamp tube, and I could turn a JMP into just a ripping, you know, just rock amp. I mean, it wasn't a channel switcher. It was just one. It was like that overdrive pedal. It was the overdrive sound. So, but meanwhile, I had this amp I built for myself, and these guys were showing interest in it. And so I was like, yeah, okay. And so I committed to buying 10 sets of transformers, because my transformer manufacturer that I'd gone to, DeYoung Manufacturing, was like, okay, we build you the prototype set first, but if you want any more, you have to minimum order quantity is 10 pieces. Mm-hmm. So I scraped some money together and I bought 10 sets of transformers. Well, it turned out that the guys that I was chatting with at the rehearsal hall, their intentions were good, but they, like me and another starving Seattle musician, had no money. So I was like, I already committed to buying these transformers. I've already started building all these chassis. I'm gonna have to do something with this stuff. So what I need to do is go to where there's more musicians and more industry and everything else, and maybe I can find some buyers for these things, and that'll make things, you know, work out for me. Mm-hmm. So in January of 1987, I packed all my worldly possessions and my prototype amp and my tools and everything else in the back of my 38 Chevy, and I drove to Los Angeles.
Okay.
I had a second cousin that lived down there, so I stayed with her for a while I looked for a little shop. I found a little shop space on Melrose Avenue and paid a deposit and got the rent going, and moved all my stuff and me into the shop. So I was living in the shop as well.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
And Soldano Amps was born. Soldano Custom Amplification.
And who was the first big artist that was it? George Lynch?
Well, actually, here's the thing that was interesting. Right when I got to LA, I met some, you know, rocker guys on Sunset Strip. They're, you know, hey, our band's playing at Gazzari's, you know, come and see us sometime. So I met some guys, got to be friendly, and they were like, you know, you're from Seattle, you've never been here, so we need to show you around. So you've got to go to the Rainbow
Okay.
and have pizza with us one night. So fortuitously, we went into the Rainbow one night, and we're sitting there ordering our pizza, and in walks Howard Leese from Heart, and he sits down at the booth across from us.
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle guy, right? So he's sitting there, and he's just kind of by himself, and my friends are like, "Go talk to him, go tell him about that amp of yours." I'm like, "I can't go talk to him. He's probably waiting for friends. He doesn't want to be bothered by me." And they go, "Come on." They literally, I'm really a shy guy, so they literally had to push me out of the booth. So they pushed me out of the booth, and I stumbled over there. "Oh, Mr. Leese, I'm Mike Soldano. I'm from Seattle, and I made this guitar amp. It's kind of cool. You might want to hear it." Or I was just like falling all over myself. He's like, "Oh, here, sit down. Tell me about it." So I sat down, told him this is high gain. He goes, "Tell you what," he says, "we're recording right now." He says, "We're out at Rumbo Recorders." He says, "Here's the address." He gave me the address. This is long before internets and phones and all that.
GPS.
Yeah, no GPS. And I had my Thomas guide. That's how I got around. I looked at my maps, And he goes, "Yeah." He says, "I'm going to be out there tomorrow morning." He says, "Why don't you bring that amp up? I'd like to hear it." And I'm like, "Cool." So this is the one I built for myself. This was like my first one. And so, well, I should back up. The very first, if I could call it, production amp. It was actually it was still a spray painted chassis and hand done circuit board and all that. But the very first one, I sold to my friend Tommy, who had the rehearsal place in Seattle that I was borrowing, because he fell in love with it right away, and he could afford it, so he bought the very first one. So he had the very first one. Well, the second one was my own personal one, and so that's the one I had with me.
Do you still have it?
No, because I sold it to Howard Leese.
Okay.
So I took it out there just to show it to him, and I said, "Hey, I've got parts. I can build you another one once I get my shop set up."
He said, "No,
he goes, "No, I want this one right now."
You guys don't understand, especially with tube amps back then, no two sounded exactly the same.
And I broke that mold, because mine do all.
Yeah, So I'm pretty sure I could see him going, no, that sounds great.
There was a lot.
I don't want you to don't bring me another one, because it's not going to sound, especially Marshalls.
Yeah, that's right. There was a lot of superstition around that, and they didn't. That's right.
Right.
There was a lot of variation in the tolerance on the components.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he wanted that amp right then and there. He didn't have his checkbook with him, so he's like, "I'll be right back." He goes and jumps in his Ferrari and takes off for Malibu, where he was staying. And so I'm hanging out in the lounge at the studio, and pretty soon he comes back and he writes me a check. Meanwhile, the band had ordered barbecue, so I'm having barbecue with Ann and Nancy and Howard and the band, and it was really fun. So that was my first major sale. But then there was a big dry spell, because here I'm in LA, nobody knows who I am. I'm just this guy down in Melrose. I hand painted a sign and stuck it up on the side of my building. I still have the sign, by the way. That
cool.
I do still have. But nobody knew who Soldano was, and so it was kind of tough times. I met this kid who really thought what I was doing was really cool, and he volunteered to be like my sales guy. I couldn't pay him. I said, "I can't pay you." He says, "Tell you, but I give you a commission when you sell one. But until then, until you sell one, I can't pay you." And he's like, "I'll take that on." And so he went out and pounded the pavement, and his name was Tony, and through pure just diligence, he managed to get into a studio one time when Steve Lukather was there, and he showed it to Luke. Luke had to have it, and once again, it was one of those things where it's like, "I'm going to send you home with a check. I'm keeping the one you brought, the demo one, you know." And so once again, and that's how I met Bob Bradshaw, was through Lukather. And then once I met Bob, I got looped into the whole.
Everybody.
Yeah, and then pretty soon,
even if they didn't have in their racks, they still owned one.
Yeah. And so that really, and so all of a sudden, I was off and running, and that was like, that was the fall of. Well, actually, no, it was more like the winter of 88.
88?
Yeah, it was. So I'd been in LA about a year and a few months, and then it kind of clicked, and then by God, not many months later, I was building amps for. First Mark Knopfler.
No, nice.
Well, before him it was Lou Reed, then Knopfler, and then when Knopfler got his, Clapton had to have his, and it just exploded. And never looked back. It just was like crazy cool.
That's crazy.
So it was really exciting. It was a very exciting time in my life, and I'm really grateful to all the people along the way that helped make it happen, and just it worked out. It was kind of a dream come true. And so I never got to be the rock star I thought I'd be, but I got to be a guy that built stuff for rock stars.
Yeah, you were a rock star and amps for sure. One last thing before we get to some questions, because we've been on for a while. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and listening. And I see a lot of people commenting, this is fascinating. And it's fascinating to me because there's a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
You still play?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that is great. And I've been going to NAMM shows since 1983.
Wow.
Right out of high school. I've been going there. Someone took me to a NAMM show, and I've been going there, and I have so many fond memories and stuff. But now I know so many people who own companies that started because they were playing, and there was nothing that did what they needed to do.
Right.
And then they got to running a business, which I know is crazy and stuff like that.
It's a lot
But they
of work.
stopped playing live. And then if you're not careful, that stops you from playing, period.
Right.
And I understand how stressful things are, but when that happens, you lose touch with why you created the product that you're selling. And when you do that, you're no longer the target audience. You have no idea what the target audience is. So it's harder to make new products. You come up with stuff and you think it's going to be great, but you don't have a reality check of like why that would be great,
right?
Or you don't understand when someone calls and goes, "Hey, you're so and so does this or should do this," and you're like, "Why? Why would you need that?"
Right.
Because everything's changed from live playing from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s to 2010s and 20s now. It's not the same. I used to play. I remember playing the Limelight with two 100-watt Marshall heads. And in the rhythm team with 3 drummers, a horn section, keyboard player, bass player, 5 background singers. And in the first song, I'm like, you know what, let me just turn up just to make sure that I have enough headroom. And it's like, they're on 7. They're going to blow, Marshalls. Yeah. They're going to blow after that. I'm like, all right, I got to leave it there. I might get Toronto. 3 drum sets are allowed. Yeah. And now I have that 100. I have a 100-watt head at home, 73 head, and if I turn it on past 1, I'm like, I'm done. Yeah, it's like, I'm done. But it's a different situation. Like we were talking about the church players and club Nashville that don't want people playing on amplifiers.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
So I'm saying this to keep. That's great that you play and keep playing because you understand. You built the amp for you out of necessity, and that's the best thing. I think if you're doing something just because you want to sell it to other people, and you can start it that way, that's not necessarily the best way to do it. But if you build something that makes you happy, and a bunch of people go, yeah, that's for me too.
That's what.
Then you go,
exactly.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. Yeah, so what do you guys? Let me switch cameras here. We've been on for a while here. What do you got? Let's see. Braxo, you have a Soldano pedal. Actually, you have 2 of them. A white one and a purple. Yes.
Good for you. Yay.
Yeah. Larry, please thank Mike for being the creator of all those wonderful things that contributed to the soundtrack of our lives. That's from Steven. All those records and awesome tones, his fingerprints are all over the songs. That's great. That's great, Steven. Yeah. Phil, interesting point, Larry. It's like if you create a product but stop playing, you have no skin in the game anymore. Yep. Yeah. Had the first white pedal. Braxel had the first white pedal, and they released a purple one, and it was, darn it, I want a purple one. So you got, there you go. That's what pushed me over the edge. I was like, all right, I got to get the purple one.
Yeah, see the purple. It's like, okay, sold.
Yes. Dolly. Hey, Dolly. Cool. Dolly, you have any questions for Mike? Does anybody have any questions? Questions. I know you guys might have. Great show. Thanks, Ralph. Braxel's happy you got Mike here. Braxel owned many early 70s Marshalls, and they all sounded different because Marshalls were building amps with whatever they had available.
Kind of true in a way, yeah.
My friend Mitch Diamond used to have, Mitch would have like 10 heads, and he'd have a bunch of cabinets, but he had one cabinet that sounded great. And that never left the house. You didn't want anything to have with that.
That's the magic one, yeah.
And all those guys, if they had like a a great head that sounded great, they're like scared to take it on the road. And I, with Billy, when I go back to Squire, my friend Ira came down. I'm calling you out, Ira. Came down to rehearsal, and Billy's idea of tone was, like I said, the 100-watt Marshall for clean, 50-watt JCM 800 for lead, AB box and a wah. Start the show with a no-caster. Then you move to a 59 Les Paul Jr. with P90s.
Oh, cool.
Then he had two gold tops, one with P90s and with 57 gold tops, one with P90s, one with humbuckers, burst buckers from a burst, and then you end the show with a 58 sunburst Les Paul.
Wow.
So I was like, all right. So I was like, Billy, you can't take this on the road. And he's like, why not? And he's like looking at the heads. They're all, you can't take this stuff on the road.
$1 guitars.
This is what I have. Why would I not? He goes, I got other ones that I collect, and I got ones that I use in the studio. And it's like, that's right. When you get to that level, you're not taking that stuff out.
I know. I always marvel when I see these, $1 guitars getting played, but I'm glad they're being played because they're meant to be played.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Hey, Brett, huge company now. Are you still building here? Yes, they're in LA, right?
They're in LA, yeah.
Yeah. Boutique distribution. Yes?
Yeah, boutique amps distribution.
Boutique amps.
Yeah,
Boutique
BAD. BAD for short. So
BAD for short. Okay. The stuff Tom Kiefer used to take on the road blows my mind. Tom's got a lot of crazy stuff. Bonnie Troy, hey Bonnie, Pensacola, Florida in the house. Felicia Harding, Wyoming, very interesting story. Phil Langworthy, besides everything else, this is an American dream story.
kind of is, right? Yeah.
Cool. Twitch and DF fascinating. So there's several people are commenting that don't play guitar, which is great. Margaret Ryman, love your Ronnie Lee shirt. She has one too. Braxel, what? I'm sorry, I'm reading comments. Like, yes, I put my order in. Yes, I want that tube pedal, and then you got to at least be able to put some exhaust pipes on that side.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Just design a pedal, just a limited edition that looks like a car.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'm all for that.
I personally, I love Camaros, I love Mustangs. I always wanted a 64 Thunderbird.
Ooh, that's a cool.
Because you could put a whole stack in the back of that trunk.
Yeah, the trunk's like a mile long. Yeah.
My Mini Cooper could fit in the trunk of that car.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm just looking at it. All right, let me see. Any questions? Two things I dreamed off in school: a V8 Trans Am and a SLO 100.
Perfect combination.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, Phil said, how did you scale up production once you broke in with Steve Lukather and everyone wanted one?
Well, it was very limited production. I mean, the first thing I did, I called a friend of mine that I'd met years earlier. I worked briefly for 1 year at Stars Guitars in San Francisco, doing guitar repairs and stuff, but I was also repairing amps there as well. And I met a guy there named Bill, who was an amazing craftsman, electronic. He could solder beautifully. Mm-hmm. He had his own amp ideas and designs. And so he was well versed in vacuum tube technology. So when things started picking up for me, I was first thing I called him up. I go, "What are you doing right now? Do you want to come out here and build some amps?" Because I knew that I wouldn't have to spend much time training him or anything because he already knew stuff. Mm-hmm. And so he said, "I'll come out for a couple weeks and just help you get caught up, and then I'll head back home." He came out and 25 years later went back. So yeah, I kept it small. I mean, we were on a good week when I outgrew my shop in Hollywood in about a year and a half, and then moved out to the valley to Van Nuys, and I was out by the Van Nuys airport. And so I was able to hire a few more people and train them how to solder and build. But even at that point, we were maybe building 5 pieces a week on a good week. So they were always very limited production.
And what was the demand like?
The demand was high. I mean, my waiting list was long.
Yeah.
You know, it got
So if you could have built 25 a week, you would have sold 25.
I could have sold them,
Yeah.
but I couldn't compromise the quality. They had to be hand built. We had to build them in house. I had to, be Mr. Control Freak and be looking over everybody's shoulders all the
Did you
time.
personally plug in each one to make sure they sounded? Yeah,
I tested most of them. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So it was just like, okay, I know there's demand here, but I can't change the way I do it. So
Sure.
just get on the list and wait.
Did you ever get one to Eddie Van Halen?
Yes, in fact, Eddie had 3. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he was a car guy too.
He was,
Yeah.
and I was fortunate enough to be invited by him up to his house one day in 5150, and I got to see his Lamborghinis, and he had a really.
He said Lamborghinis.
He had multiples, yeah. He had several Lamborghini Miras, and he had this really nice, I think it was a 56 Chevy Nomad station wagon that was really badass.
And the famous pickup truck.
Yes, yeah.
Pickup truck that he'd actually go buy stuff with.
Yeah.
No wonder.
And that's when he drove to my shop the first time he ever came down to get an amp, which, by the way, was on Valentine's Day. And I'm trying to get out of the shop to go on a hot date with my girlfriend at the time. And he's like, no, you wait there till I get there. I want to try out this amp tonight. And I'm like, well, how about tomorrow? No, tonight.
Wow.
And so he drove over from Coldwater Canyon and made it in record time in rush hour traffic. How he did it, I don't know. But he...
What year was this?
This was 89 or 90.
Yeah, no cop was going to give him a speeding ticket anyway if they pulled him over.
Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, Eddie had some, and yeah, a lot of big name guys had my stuff, guys and gals.
Stephen Miller says, I really appreciate Mike's commitment to quality control and still shows in the new stuff. There's some builders who just crank out product and the consistency is sketchy at best. I've never played a Soldano that didn't sound awesome.
Oh, thanks. Well, when I teamed up with Boutique, I was very, very adamant about the whole quality issue thing. I told them, I said, you're putting my name on this, and so there was a lot of negotiating about how the quality bar had to be maintained where it is. And to their credit, they have done everything as good, if not better, than what I wanted and expected. So.
Okay.
I tip a big hat to Avi and the crew at Boutique because they're really doing good by my desires and my name.
Cool. Phil Langworthy said, did Jeff Beck ever buy one?
No, and I was always bummed about that because Jeff's such a car guy, right?
Yeah.
But he did try one out once. Yeah. I happened to know his tech. And his tech came by my shop one time in Hollywood and this is when I was in Van Nuys. He came by and said, I'll tell you what, he goes, Jeff is really pretty much dialed into what he already likes. But he says, I'll take one down and let him try it. So at the time, Jeff would stay at the famous hotel on Sunset Strip, Sunset something, and I can't remember what it was.
Chateau Marmont.
That's it, yes. Mm-hmm. He would stay there, but apparently there was a room in the basement that when he was in town, he got to use it as like a rehearsal space or whatever.
Because he played loud.
Yeah, and so I have a Polaroid that the tech took for me of Jeff playing through an SLO on a 412 cabinet.
Okay, cool.
But he actually never bought one.
Do you know Pierre de Beauport?
I don't.
Okay, all right. That's just one. Dolly, we never figured out who the target audience should be. Do you have any We never figured out who the target audience should be. Do you have any insight? I'm missing something. Dolly, my stepfather and I built one boutique amp a few years ago with 2 separate modified Fender and Marshall preamps packed in a custom tweak cabinet.
Cool. Awesome.
But Dolly, I like the way you did it. You built something for you, and you were pleased with it, which is also probably why you're such a stickler for quality control.
Yes.
And then other players heard it and said, oh, I want that.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think when you get into trouble, sometimes you just go, I'm going to build this because I can. and then I don't know what to do with it.
Right. That's true. It's kind of like you have to sort of have a goal in mind, and and for me it was satisfying my own tonal desires. So
yeah, I think that way for art anyway. There's art, and then there's trying to market your art and stuff like that. But for me, it's always better if you do what you think what you feel makes you happy, and then other people start to want to be a part of that somehow.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Stephen, you guessed Larry Faye's Nags trim. I do like the Nags trim. So I bugged Joe Nags after I had to leave I have a model Nags guitar, right, a full size model guitar based off a 65 Strat.
Cool.
65 Strat. But I had to leave one in Australia because they wouldn't let me on a plane with the same plane I came on with it in the gig bag. So I had to call a friend and said, "Can you come back?"
Really? Wow.
So Joe Nags, I bugged him enough that he took pity on me and he made the 7 LM headless.
That's pretty
cool. So I fly with this. It's 1 inch bigger than a tennis racket.
God, it's so compact. That's great.
So but I do, and this is a tremolo designed by my friend Remco in Australia. But I do like Joe Nags regular tremolo. I'm not a huge fan of locking tremolos. I stopped doing that like in the 90s up until now with this, but you have to do that with a headless. The stream must have I think we're back. The stream must have dipped for a minute. Are we back? Are we back, Rosie?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, I think we should cut it short because it's 2 hours.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Time flies when you have fun.
Let's see. I am up here Thursday, June 4th, at the Mountain Room with Charlie Lomé on drums, Jeff Eason on bass, myself. I got some guests, including maybe a guest that's in the room right now. Ronnie Lee's in town.
You're guessing with me.
Ronnie's got a show tomorrow at Dawson's, which I actually found out that I have actually been there before and jammed before there. So I'm looking forward to that. Ronnie's playing tomorrow. So what time does that start tomorrow, right?
It starts at 8.
Starts at 8 o'clock?
It's a jam.
It's a jam.
So bring your axe.
All right. I'll bring my axe. Stephen, now I got to find some place that has a Purple Slow Plus in stock. My wallet is blaming both Larry and Mike on this one. There you go.
No responsibility.
Can't go wrong. And Raleigh, if you're watching, Raleigh has I left one for Raleigh to try, and it's in Sheridan, Wyoming, and it's on his pedal board. So I need to get the back. I have one on my other pedal board at home. Oh, cool. Thanks, Phil. Phil liked this one. It's rocked. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, watching. Mike, thank you so much for this. Has been wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Getting to know you more. I don't know if you remember, we met a long time ago in Seattle. I played a gig. You were there watching someone that played right before me.
Yes, that's right.
And like Mike Soldano, and I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, every now and then you get stuck on like, what am I going to say? Hi, Mike. Nice to meet you.
No, I remember. I didn't want to. It was downtown Seattle.
Yep.
We were at what was the name of that place? Because one of my customers was playing before you, and Henry.
No, it wasn't Triple Door.
My buddy Henry was playing. It was it the Phoenix? No, it wasn't the Phoenix.
I don't know.
But I remember that. I told him because when Ronnie told me she knew you, I was like, I met Larry years ago. Yeah.
I didn't want to be like just a weird guy. Go, hey, I had some of your amps and stuff like that. I don't have them now. but
it's a pleasure seeing you again. And,
man.
And gosh, yeah, keep doing what you do. It's just, you're a wonderful player.
Oh, thank you.
I love what you do.
I'm just trying to have fun and play. I keep shifting because I have, different, like I couldn't hold on the pick, and I ran into, Dave's story. He gave me the right pick, and I got to deal with this thing. But thank you. Braxel, I saw some of your comments. They are going through. Just to give you a heads up, Facebook sometimes ghost posts me. So I know, like I used to go, when I first started doing the live on Facebook, I would have a crazy amount of people watching. And now it's really low numbers, and it's set to private. I can't even change it anymore. At one point, I used to be able to go start it and then go and change it from private to global to world. But now it won't let me change it till after it's over. So I know a lot more people watch it after it's done. Thank you for Luther. You're still watching. It's got to be 6 a.m. in Sweden. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hey, Vince. Thank you. As always, I like to end the show with a quote by my friend Zach Friedoff, Humanitarian of the Year. Zach is just an awesome person, great singer-songwriter, and a line from one of the songs that I totally love. It's, when I gave all my love and I've gone home, they'll say I was here, and I put a little dent in fear, and that I made someone smile. I hope it made you guys smile tonight. I learned a lot. I hope you guys learned a lot. I know some of you don't play, but you're still watching. That's all. Jeannie Thompson's still watching. Favorite tremolo song? Tremolo song. That's a tricky one. I'll have to think about that. Good night, Felicia. Tom K. I didn't see you on there because it's Southwest Colorado. Awesome. Nope, I have the same problem with Facebook. Had 4K viewers, now it's terrible. Yep. First year or so, it was about 2,000 people that watched live, and now it's under 100 live when it happens. Sometimes under 20. And also, I'm sorry, the reason I said that was because I don't see, right now, I can't see any Facebook comments, and I know when I click on it later on, I will see comments. So if you're watching on Facebook and you said hello or typed a question, I can't see it. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you to my friend Ronnie Lee for bringing Mike here. And thank you, Mike, for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to play through the pedal. I used to carry one even with the model just for fun, and now it's like, oh, I was using it in the first couple of songs. I was using it, and I was like, I need to carry it again, even though like I have everything for the modeler for live. But it's also good. Like I'm gonna jam with Ronnie tomorrow, and I'll probably plug through some amplifiers and stuff like that. So I'm gonna do that.
We'll have to bring that tomorrow.
It's not yours.
Well, maybe I know somebody that could loan me one.
Oh, okay.
Who's going to be in Korea? Doesn't need it.
Yeah, we're getting on a plane tomorrow.
Okay. 2 weeks. All right. Have a great trip.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. I was going to play.
You.
So you guys know I'm up here in Tacoma, Washington, and I'm staying with Rosie and Jeff. And yesterday we came up and we got to see their grandson, Jay, sing. Check this out. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. And stay safe, healthy, and happy. And I'll see you on Sunday for It Happened on a Sunday. I will be in San Diego. I'm going to play a bit, and then the band's going to come out.
My poor father has in mind filled with smells of hot dogs, popcorn, and fresh cut grass.